Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gotham Chess Slow Run. In this series, I started at 400, and today we will cross 1700 rapid on chess.com. I have played 148 games, and I have won 148 games. I think I've had a worse position 2 or 3 times, and recently it has certainly been getting more challenging. Today, I'm going to try to continue to play good chess, explain my thought process every step of the way, and today we're crossing the highest bound of everything that I've been preaching in the last 20 episodes of the How to Win at Chess Next Level book. Pawn play, piece play, attacking, defending, converting, winning positions. Now things are going to get more intense. Now we begin that little journey from advanced chess to mastery. And it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense. At this point, I'm still going to be messing around with different openings, but I'm going to try to play as much as I can, stuff that's in my wheelhouse. Now, I'm going to kick things off. I've played a lot of Caro-Kanns. I've played a lot of Scandinavians. Let's play a Scandinavian defense. My opponent takes and plays knight f3. We don't know what else is going to be played here, but for now, we can just develop the light-squared bishop. This is actually a line that I recommend. With white, I recommend knight f3 and bishop e2. So I might even be facing my own courses, which is kind of crazy. And I like this because now, we castle the long way and they've castled the short side. And I like this variation a lot. c4 is not the best because I think d4 becomes more difficult now. And I'm going to go queen h5 here, rotating my queen over. If the move h3 is played, there are already some positions where I can just sacrifice over here to open up the king, and just defending is very difficult compared to attacking in chess. Now, I think I have multiple options. I can play e6 or e5. Both of those moves look good. e5, if this, again, I can probably always sacrifice. I can also develop my knight. I don't see a massive difference. I would love to play e6 here and then, get my bishop out. The problem is that bishop f4 would be possible. Don't know which of those moves is the best, so I'm just going to play e5. And of course, don't spend 25 seconds here. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. This is going to be a major question mark in the position. I actually think I'm just winning with the move e4. Okay, not quite winning, unfortunately, but very close. Yeah, I just win in 9 moves straight from the opening. The move e4, I think, is just crushing. Because I attack the knight, there's a pin. I think the only move is knight. Wow. I can't believe my opponent spotted that move. So if I take, then of course this gets taken, but if this, they have to take with the queen, and I had to calculate that after queen takes and knight takes, I would be winning at least a pawn. My pawn would be making it all the way to d3, or they could do this and just lose a pawn. And I guess I'm going to play, I don't know, pawn takes d3 looks possible. I also don't even have to, maybe I can play like bishop here, but okay, rook takes d3 is also possible. Rook d3 is actually very nasty because if they move the queen, I would take the knight for free. But if rook d3, knight d2, I mean, it all looks pretty decent for me. It's very tough to say which of these moves is better. I just want to play a little bit faster. If I play pawn takes and the knight moves, I'm conflicted. Because I don't know if my pawn in the long run is going to be an asset or a liability. It could very well be a liability, which would be really annoying because, anyway, again, in a practical, I'm really trying to play the best move here. I'm not just trying to yap. Let's take with the rook. Might have overthought it, right? Pawn that deep in the position sometimes could be good, sometimes could be bad. That just loses, I think, because I can play knight b4, queen a4, queen e2, queen a7. Really? Really? Was that just luck? I mean, did my opponent did they spot that move or did they just get insanely lucky? Okay, whatever. I'm going to play bishop d6. I mean, anyway, first of all, I'm threatening mate, and second of all right, bishop f4 played. Now knight b4, queen here, queen e2, bishop d6. I can't believe this. I'm actually stunned if this works. Knight b4, queen a4, and I just somehow, wow, insane. All right, let's go knight f6. I gotta play faster. I'm a little bit slow, and I'm doubting myself because I'm perplexed how my opponent is playing this position. Just like can't believe what is happening here. So one thing is I'm gonna have to back up here with my rook, because if I don't, there's gonna be knight f4. So this move did, did a couple of did me a couple of favors there. Knight c3 is not a bad move. I just have to start playing faster. So knight to d4 is possible, and then after it takes, I'm gonna at least take the bishop, and that looks good for me. Queen a4 now I don't think is a problem anymore. Let's go knight d4. Removing the defender of this guy. If knight takes, I take. This is mate. G3, I can pick up the knight back, and I should be fine. And I mean, it all comes down to the mechanics over here. I just think my opponent was insanely lucky, and I don't think they realized the complications there. But you'll notice how I kept looking at the most aggressive counterattacking move. You might be sitting at home not quite picking up on that one point. So let me take this. G3, maybe even... Is knight g4 just game over? Knight g4, h4, I can sack my bishop. I mean, it just looks like I have to be winning. Actually, wait a minute, I definitely am winning. No checks, right? Yeah, no checks. If this is mate. The only way I could lose this position is a crazy miscalculation somehow. But forcing my opponent to push pawns in front of their king like this has to be good. You'll notice that I'm going to analyze this game a lot when it's over. That must lose. That must lose. So I have rook to d2 here, which... So that was a nice idea, but rook d2 should clean up the job. Now this is mate. The only thing that my opponent could do here is to lose the queen or get mated. Okay. Everything in that game was a calculation. That was a very, very vicious game. Very vicious game. My opponent has also sent a rematch. It was very cute. Okay. So, the Scandinavian is an opening that can be very positional. It's a very good opening. It's a fantastic opening. I win 70% of the games that I play in it. Most people go here and then d4, and I personally like to play bishop f5. I have a course on the Scandinavian. You can check it out for free. You don't have to spend any money. That's on Chessly. And then obviously, that's on a trial. But yes, I really love the Scandinavian. However, inherently, when you do opposite side castling, the game is going to get a lot more vicious. Here, white should play h3 and d4. This move is less good because it allows me to fully control the d4 square, whereas, sometimes you can play c3 and d4. And I went queen h5, and the position is balanced. Now, as I was saying, probably my opponent needs to take care of the position there. And then I have a couple of choices. Practically speaking, it could be a very good idea to sacrifice. It doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite work because right now my queen is the only attacking piece, and you don't want to sacrifice a piece for 2 pawns in front of a castled king when your queen is the only attacking piece. Now, if this was the position, something like knight f6, and then like knight g4, this is a very different story because now I'm actually threatening something if my opponent moves, and then I'm threatening to remove the knight as a critical defender, and I've got mate coming, right? So that always could be an idea. But sometimes another thing you can do is bring that attacking piece. You don't actually take the pawn. What you do is you do something like this, and now you are always threatening a mate, and it's not easy to stop. If g3, white is trying to play knight to h4, you can sneak in, and now white just can't move anything. The second that white goes rook e1, you play knight d4, and your attack just swarms in, led by the queen and the horses. So that was kind of the idea. When my opponent didn't do that, I actually had a lot of options here. I could have maybe played knight. I could have played with my pawn. You'll notice in the game I said I didn't want to go here because even though I want to go bishop d6, my opponent could put the bishop on the diagonal. So I took as much space in the center as possible, and utilizing my piece placement of the opening, now certain possibilities pop up. as you're approaching this level, if you're watching this and you're way below this level, you know, just stuff like this will pop up in your brain at some point. That's called intuition. You don't have the skill set yet to have a strong intuition. And as you are a 1500, 2000, whatever you are watching this, you might also not come to these things naturally if you've never seen them before. But with a rook and a queen opposite each other, there's always this possibility. And this is also a very weird structure. So my opponent went here, and yes, indeed, we see the eval bar drop, e4, I'm winning. Now, by the way, everything in this game was calculation. I did spot this move in advance. I just can't always verbalize everything. And I calculated that here, you know, I have the option to take this pawn. What's amazing is the computer is showing the move I played in the game is minus 2.1, and this move is minus 2. So they're around the same. What I was worried about here is something after something like knight to f4, if I traded too quickly, my pawn would just be a target. Now, again, I'm looking at computer now, the line, and it's saying knight e5, and actually there is no good way for white to attack me. If you take on a7, I simply trap the bishop. If you continue to develop, I'm actually threatening another pawn. So I should have probably looked into the future at some point and just realized this pawn actually wouldn't be a liability. But in the game, I opted to take like this, and I thought here, you know, the best move was to play knight to d2 and keep going. And I thought my pawn here would be less of a liability than on d3. Now, this is an insanely lucky move. Whether my opponent had calculated this or not, or just got completely lucky, knight b4 removes the defender of this. And, you know, this is something I refer to it as superseding concepts. I recently launched a series called Road to 2000 with my wife, where I'm just analyzing her games, and she's a 1000 rated player. And we talked about superseding concepts. Knight b4 is one of the most natural moves and one of the most forcing moves that black has here. And you'll very quickly realize it actually just completely removes the defense of the knight. But then you need to calculate, what is my opponent's most forcing move? And when queen a4 comes, you have to realize my opponent is threatening queen here, and knight to f4. That is not an easy move to remember in the mix of all this when you go knight b4. For many of you, knight b4, queen a4 would come as a shock, and after queen e2, you know, yeah, this position is actually completely fine for black, but I was very scared. Here's what the computer wants. Bishop d6, and it just wants to run into the middle of the board and play like this. I mean, I get it, but not everybody's going to be comfortable with this degree of risk, and I don't believe this is a -4 position at 1600 level. It's probably like -2. A lot of people would panic here. They would freak out. You know, they might go here. Suddenly the advantage is already completely gone. And then you go queen e5 looking for a mate. And then, you know, you develop a knight, and suddenly there's this move, and now the advantage is back. You know, and that's dangerous. So I just developed here. I didn't like this. And actually, okay, already knight d4 is there. I could have already gone for knight to d4. With this idea to pry apart the defenses of the position, but then I played it on this move. So I tried to get my knight into the game and maybe prepare this. And folks, you will realize I was calculating the whole time, right? Every move I'm looking like, okay, what's hanging? That's hanging, right? These are my ideas. Here, I was thinking to simply play rook d4 pawn takes. This is, of course, completely winning for black. You can give a check, right? And then you can maybe give another check, force the king back out here. Black is up 2 pawns. Black is mating soon. So we are totally winning, but this is even stronger because it forces white to make a move, and now that's beautiful piece play from us, and we win a nice game. So that was a nice way to start, you know, very tactical game. I wasn't feeling fully sharp, and sometimes I'm lacking a little confidence, you know. So yeah, that happens. I think I'm playing a sniper actually in this game, because they stole my profile picture and they stole my account, and I'm not gonna entertain that, which is unfortunate. It's the first sniper in like 40 episodes, so yeah, that's quite funny. Let me just go full screen to not leak any account information, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let me play another game. You know, the slow run, these types of things can happen. I feel like people, you know, they track the account or whatever. We've got another game. We got the black pieces. D4. All right. So now I can play the Grunfeld. I can play the Dutch. Let's see if the Dutch continues to work at these levels, or, okay, fantastic. And now please go here. This is the move 90% of people play. And This is chapter 1 of my Dutch course. Now, here's how the game's gonna... Ooh, my opponent stops my move. I haven't seen that in a minute. Look at that. Wow. People are actually playing sophisticated chess? Okay, never mind. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness me. I cannot believe it. I just gave so much credit to this move, and then you follow it up with that. Now, this pin is nothing. This pin's a whole bunch of nothing here. Because if you go, I can chase you down. Now, luckily, the bishop's not going to be trapped. You know, but okay. All right, so... Now, this is a bit of an aggressive move, but it's completely playable. And maybe I'll put my bishop over there. I mean, what is going on here? Like, are you actually going to take my knight? Or are you just going to waste my time? Wow. Okay, now I have 2 bishops and more space. Maybe my opponent's going to spot queen h5 check. Anyway, I'm going to, develop a bishop. We'll see if queen h5 check comes in. We would trade the queens if that were to happen. Okay, good move. We don't have to, by the way. We could put our king in the middle, and we can kind of play from there. But let's play a queenless position. For some reason, I can't pre-move. I don't know why. Let me go full screen again. Like, why can I not pre-move? Why is that off? Weird. Okay, pre-moves are on. I don't know. Okay, how on earth do you play such a position? In general, just for now, try to make improving moves. An improving move could be something like knight to d7, just getting a knight out. I don't want to block my bishop. At the same time, we are going to monitor what our opponents can do to us, like knight to b5. Knight to b5, okay, there it is. Now, that move, funnily enough, we can certainly just counter. Make sure you don't push and hang this, and make sure you don't go here and hang that. What's funny about this move, as I look at it, is the knight actually cannot leave when it gets here. I think it can go here. And that is an offensive, defensive move. I would simply trap the knight if it took my pawn. I could have played a6 on the last move, and I was actually going to draw that, point my attention to that. Now white has to make this very, very humiliating walk of shame. But even though white loses some time here, it's not the worst thing in the world. Because the position is quite stable, and now, in a position like this, we can decide where do we put our rooks. We can decide where do we try to play for a little bit more space. How are we going to play with our pawns? Just be careful, because every time you make a pawn move, you do weaken something. Now, I think at some point, the battle will take place in the middle. So I think rook to d8 at some moment is worth it. Maybe knight to f6 continuing my journey is worth it. And another thing is, in general in chess, you want to play where you're a little bit stronger. And right now, I think I'm stronger here. You'll notice I have my forces going this way. So even though I'm not doing too much, I'm just improving on that side of the board a little bit. Now, again, every time we make a move, we weaken something with a pawn, right? We make something weak, make something strong. f3 I don't love. I guess you block my bishop, but you kind of get in the way of your own development. I also have a dark squared bishop, so I need to make that bishop come alive at some moment. I'd love to go c5, but after pawn takes, this rook is really strong, which is why rook d8 and c5 looks really smart to me. I can, of course, continue with pawn to g4, trade things down over here, maybe bring my rook out like that, but do we want to make all of those trades at this moment? Oh, it's tough to say. It is tough to say. Let's go... If we trade everything, take, everything opens up. e5 is also playable. The truth is, folks, I think in positions like this, you can often do many things. I'm going to play this move because I anticipate that in the future, my d-pawn will need a little bit of protection. But to be honest with you, my move looks a little bit passive. Maybe it was a good moment to prepare something else, right? But I feel like I'm preparing a little bit of pawn play in the middle to open things up. And that's my shirt that I left on the back of the chair. Bishop to d3 is a good move. Bishop d3 is a completely nice move, and white probably wants to finish some development in the future. Now I can't quite go e5. Could maybe go for c5 at this moment. White would maybe go knight to e2, and I'm just not getting exactly where I feel like I want to get, So I'm gonna go knight f6. I'm gonna go knight f6. I'm gonna focus where I'm stronger. Maybe my rook move was just simply bad. I switched my plan a little bit. Let's go make a pawn break here. We should have probably fully committed to this side of the board. I wasted a little bit of time, which I'm not thrilled about, but fine. Fine. It's hard, guys. It's hard to verbalize my thought process, you know? But it's a fascinating game because, like, we're not, you know, nobody has very clearly exploitable weaknesses. We're not making really bad mistakes. White could also go for his own pawn break, and then the position's going to open up and maybe get a little crazy. So, yeah, still plenty, you know, plenty to play for here. My bishop could at some point come alive. Now I almost wish I never played this move, right? Because now I kind of want to go over here and prepare for battle on this side of the board. Oy, oy, oy. Maybe h4 here is possible and try to go for something like g3. This is a crazy looking position. Something like h4 or bishop h6. Ultimately, you just gotta move, you know? So I think I'm gonna go here. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not loving what I'm doing here. I'm not loving this. This is a weird position. A lot of this position feels like playing tennis, just kind of hitting the ball back and forth and seeing what's up. Like, maybe we need to encroach, maybe not. Maybe we encroach and we go here. But I am mildly concerned that at some point, White's own pawns are going to become quite powerful. Maybe I should have went here to anticipate the opening of the e-file. It's a weird one. This is a weird position. And we'll analyze it after. We will analyze it after. It's difficult to turn on my fully international master cap while I play some of these games sometimes. So h4 looks interesting. Removing this looks interesting. This also could be not bad, but then the knight might jump in here. Yeah, this is getting a little nasty here. I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled with what I've done. We might end up needing to take, and just kind of like chop it down and get in on that side of the board, while always monitoring who is taking here. You'll notice that neither one of us is budging. And this is a move that I am not pleased to see at some point. Objectively speaking, the side with the bishops wants to open the game. But you can't, okay, that's not, I don't like that. So now e5. Knight might come in, and my bishop is blocked, by the way. So that's not a welcome development. I can take this. Then the question is, how is my opponent going to take it? Will they go here? Maybe I will go here, here. This is chaos. This is truly chaos. I think this is one of my least favorite positions that I've had so far in the slow run. Again, I think I want to open the position because bishops like open space, and this will lead to promising things. My opponent might go here and try to go to e6. At that point, I probably just have to chop off the knight immediately and try to regain control of the position. I also have g3 when I want it. Okay, they take with this pawn. My pawn is still hanging. Rook e8 followed by g3 looks promising. Taking here. Maybe g3 there, forcing the king to run. Also doesn't look that stupid. I also can come back and play defense, which is like a super last resort. I really don't want to come back and play defense. I do not want to do that. That looks like a very lame move. So I can play rook e8, but there's so much to calculate here. And sometimes you might just need to keep it a little bit simple. How do I keep it simple in such a position, really? How do I keep it simple? Let me... Obviously, this doesn't work because I'm pinned. So that wouldn't do the job. Folks, this is one of the worst positions we've had so far. Let's work our way out of it. This bishop is putting an overtime level of work here. And to be honest, very good defenders frustrate people. Just sometimes, meeting the threat is good enough. I don't like this rotating move. I also don't like knight e2. Knight e2, if knight e2 gets played, I might freak out. I mean, knight e2 is above the pay grade here. Knight e2 is a crazy move. Bringing this, like, I don't have an answer for that move. I don't think I have an answer for that move. I might just have to go a little bit crazy if that move is played. Just try to start attacking, doing something. Because knight e2 also sets up rook c1. And, okay, in the most tense moment of the game, my opponent hangs a knight. that's... There you go. You play a little bit of defense, and right at the most tense moment, the critical moment of the game, I think knight e2 was the best move. Let's go back a move. Was knight e2 the best move? Yes. Yes, I am putting this in my next book. 0.74 if knight e2 is played. Do we have an analysis here? Can I show you? I don't think I can. I can't expand it. So, okay. So when the game is done and you go game review, this move scared me. And the fact that I saw that move in this position, you know, again, my intuition screamed this move. Why? Because I wanted the rook to attack the pawn. If you just play that move, then I'm going to start taking, knocking down the position, forcing the king into the middle, and disrupting your position. But this move also prepares the knight to recapture that bishop, and now black would just be in some trouble because white has outplayed me in terms of the quality of the pieces. Knight e2, I think, what was I going to play in this position? I was probably going to go rook e8, which, yeah, the computer doesn't mind. Wow, the computer also likes king e8, rook c1, king d8. That's tough. I was going to go here, rook c1, rook e7. This is how I was going to play, and then try to stockpile more pressure, you know, and the game would go on. But white is better. Now, again, I took massive risk in the beginning of the game, and here, you know, the position's even. The position is even. Wow. Do you know what is the best move? So I played h5 in this position, which was fine, and then I played rook d8, which was a little bit slow. So I committed to h5, and here, yeah, the computer likes me committing fully to my plan here. Because if you're gonna play, if you're gonna play on one side of the board, you should stick to it. So I put some pressure, I open up the position, I have ideas like bishop h6, I have ideas like this. I should have committed to that. I mixed my plans because I kind of tied my tongue a little bit. I got tongue-tied, and then I couldn't figure out a plan. Actually, the best move in this position for black is the move c5, which makes sense, but I don't understand. And what if takes? Wow. This is really difficult, I have to tell you. I didn't go for this because who would? Knight c5, rook d6, yeah. You know what the best move is here according to the Stockfish? What it says here in the analysis window? Rook to d8. Stockfish wants me to sacrifice 2 pawns. I'm just not sure. You can't, you know, this is difficult. Nobody really thinks like this, you know. Now, the reason is, yes, you can understand this, but then you play like bc5. And if rook d6, you play king e7, the rook goes back, let's say, to d1, and black, despite being down a pawn, has massive compensation in the form of more development, more space with the pawns. Every piece is going to get into the game. White hasn't gotten into the game. But sacrificing a pawn for initiative is very... It's very instructive. Like, I mean, I have to say, c5 being the best move here is very cool, but it's difficult to evaluate that in the middle of a game. Like, why wouldn't I just play more solidly? Now, having said that, I should have went g4, because the way that I played was too slow. That concept of too slow, I played too many slow improving moves, and by the time I went for a break, already white was ready defensively, and this was maybe the last moment. I should have taken the knight, should have went g3, yeah, and then I should not have opened the position. Look at this. I should not have opened the position. So I thought, I have bishops, I will survive, I should open the position, but actually the best thing for me to do would have been to go g3 check and lock the position. Lock up the position and try to restrict my opponent. Isn't that interesting, right? Superseding concepts. And then, of course, yeah, my opponent hung a knight, which... yeah, the critical moment was not sensed. All right, let's break through 1700. d4, e6. I mean, we can play a lot of different stuff. Let's go for a London. But let's play an aggressive London. Let's play a London with bishop d3. Let's play knight f3, knight d2, try to put the knight on e5, try to deliver a checkmate. We're going to see if my opponent's going to play c5. d4, e6 is generally the sign of a player that wants you to play into a French defense. But I'm playing a London. And now we'll see. So c5, I like to meet this move with c3 basically all the time. And I like to go knight d2 so that my knight is quick and ready to go, and I'm not stuck, and I can always play rook b1. When I get hit with this move, I like to rock back, because if they take me, I take with the h-pawn, I open up the position. Actually, I feel like queen g4 there was also possible. Wow. This is an offbeat London. Normally, the knight is on f6. Very fascinating. Okay, we develop, and I guess my opponent wants knight f5, which maybe I should have stopped faster. Maybe I should have went bishop d3. Kind of fascinating. Black has played a setup that I've never really seen before. We're going to take like this. So we take with the e-pawn to open the e-file. And then I'm going to go here to prepare castling, to prepare rook e1. Ooh. Do I have a Greek gift sacrifice? Bishop takes h7. King h7. hg3 check. King g6 I think should just lose. So king here, and then I go knight to g5, and I'm threatening rook h8, king h8, and queen h7. If my opponent goes rook e8, I have queen h5. Now, the only thing there is g6, the move pawn to g6. And then I would try to play a queen move, like, let's say, queen g4. Oh, do we go for the glory here? Oh, this is so risky. Or do I just play pawn takes g3 and proceed? Oh, this is a total gamble. This is a total gamble. I also can maybe switch the move order and play knight g5, and if king g6, then I can play h takes g3. But then, oh, guys. Oh, I want to do it so bad. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? We go for it. We just go. We're going for it, guys. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I let this one go. Now, hopefully, I haven't, because what happens sometimes at this level is people think a person who thinks a lot is cheating. This actually happens. Then this has happened to me in the slow run, actually. I'm going to tell you. So they think someone's cheating, so they're like, all right, well, then I'm going to cheat back. And if my opponent uses an engine to escape this attack and I miss something, which I'm not 100% sure this is winning, by the way. I don't actually think it is, but that's besides the point. That would be really disappointing because, this is cool, I don't think it works. I think my opponent does have some good ways to defend here. But they have to take. They do not have a choice. If my opponent goes king h8, I take, and then my bishop is just getting out. My opponent might hallucinate king h8, hg, g6, but then I just take. So they have to take. They actually don't even have to think here. There is literally nothing else you can do, which is it's kind of funny that this is such a waste of time. Now, I'm worried about knight g5, king g6. I am worried about that. I don't see a follow-up there. I don't see it. Maybe queen g4. And then something like... Right. So now... now, knight g5, king g6. So if knight g5, king here, and queen h5, I have queen h7 mate. If the rook moves, I take on f7. That's easy. If the knight moves or the pawn moves, that's easy. That actually should just win me the game. If here, queen g4, e5. My queen is hanging. I can come back and take the bishop. Also have knight e6 ideas. The king slides over. Oh my, this is so insane. Hg king g8 I think is wrong. I think running backwards is incorrect because knight g5 here. And my opponent can come back to that square and protect. Maybe queen h5, knight h6. I mean... And they play the best move. So my opponent actually has played the best move. They have played the best move. So now I can maybe go queen g4. But I don't think this is good. Queen g4, bishop takes, e5, knight e6, king moves. And I was worried that after this, there would be rook to h8. But maybe it's okay? This is crazy. Okay, we knew that we were losing when we went into this. But you only live once, you know? You only live one time. So you gotta go for it if you gotta go for it. Knight f3 is also very interesting. Just defend the knight. I honestly, I'm at the point where I might just go knight f3 because I don't really know what else to do. Knight f3. Am I down 2 pieces? I'm down 2 pieces. This is bad. This is not good. Queen g4. I'm most worried about bishop takes f2. And then king f2, e5. Queen g3, knight f5 is just losing. If I go knight e6 check, king f6. Queen g7, there's no way. There was just no way. All right, I'm going to go here, and now rook h8 will be the follow-up. And I'm honestly just going to have to maybe retreat and try to hunt the... What? I mean, I saw this move, but I just thought it lost. What? You can do this? I mean, if you can do this, then I definitely lose. Queen h... Wait, now I'm in red alert. Hold on. Queen here. Check. Is there g5? Wait, queen here and knight f3. Queen g5 is mate. Check there, knight f3, queen g5 is mate. I could lose. I could totally lose. My opponent then has to go e5. All right, this has to be the move. Queen h4, g5, I don't see anything. Knight f3. This is mate. The only way my opponent survives this, I guess, is there g6? There can't be g6. I feel like the king just must get mated there. But there might be g6. I don't know. This is crazy. I think you're going to have to go e5. I think you're going to have to go e5 and just run. But e5 de here? Some sort of queen check? There's going to be a passant somewhere? I also mismanaged my time, right? I mean, I was trying to play a little bit theatrically. I just didn't even think this was possible. So I spent all that time calculating something. No! What? No! No! Oh my goodness. No! Oh, black is winning if black goes e5! Wow, I was winning here. Oh my god, the way I was winning is disgusting. I did not see... Oh my god, white to play and win. I didn't see this move at all. I didn't see this move at all. Wow, I have knight h7! What a move! And the threat is both queen g4, which is mate, which is an insane mate, and queen h5, which is mate. And if rook h7, queen g4 here, rook h7. Okay, I mean, I talked about playing an aggressive London. Oh my goodness. And here, wow, rook h5 was correct. Queen h5 was wrong. I mean, I just thought I'm going to chase the king into the middle of the board and win, but this is losing. This is just completely lost. Wow. Chess is hard, man. And this is a bad move. Guys, you cannot do this in a London and open up your opponent's position. You cannot play like this. Oh, man. And wow, I was correct. So this is bad. How many of you would have just considered this? But this is bad because I don't get my queen into the game fast enough. And if knight g5, yes, the only defensive move is knight f5, which I calculated after queen h5, knight h6. That is so difficult to calculate. The defensive piece, not covering the square, but covering the attack. I saw that, which is why I looked at this, and this was all correct. But then this move just shocked me. I mean, I thought rook h8, and actually I was just ready to play a losing position. I was going to go queen c2, etc. But another thing after this, queen g4, yes, again, the best move, sack the bishop with a check, and then this crushing counter-attacking move e5, and I'm in trouble. If queen h4, rook h8, I don't get my pieces together. This was a very good video for calculation, and we have crossed 1700 with a bang. Wow. Wow. Rook h5, the winning move is this, e5. Oh my god, this is completely unfindable. Completely unfindable, this move. The idea is d-e5, knight e5. How many of you here would go queen g5 check and win the knight? That is wrong. That is wrong. The winning move for white after e5, d-e5, knight e5 is knight e4 check. Sacrificing the knight because after this, now you do this and you win the queen and you're still not even winning because you have a queen and a rook for a rook, a bishop, and a knight, queen g7, something like this, and the game goes on. What a completely insane position. And this just shows you that in chess, the two most important things are material and king safety, and still at this level, defending a king under a vicious attack is difficult. I was actually ready to lose. I mean, this would have been a completely self-induced loss, but at least we would have had fun. You know, this wasn't a person outplaying me. But I still managed to win, and yeah, calculating all these things is so difficult. This would have been a draw, because queen h4, king g7, I don't have anything. So I was actually going to go something like g4. Still, black has to, you know, play in the middle and then run the king. And, you know, basically just like, just literally run the king to safety and run away with the loot. Oh, this is so brutal. This is so brutal. What a fun game. And yeah, London does not have to be a boring opening, guys. It doesn't have to be a boring opening. If the opponent sets up in a way that allows for these kinds of Greek gift sacrifices, that was all made possible because the knight was on the wrong square. This was so cool. And yeah, wow. I didn't even consider rook h5. I was like, there's no way rook h... But I should have. I should have thought here a little bit longer because, yeah, wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Interesting. Interesting game. That's all I have for you today. You can check out the book if you like it. You can get a ticket for the European tour. At the European tour, we will have signed books. We will. We're also going to have special guests like Matthias Blubaum, Luc Van Velde. We're going to have Anna Kramling back with us. London is going to be a great show. I'm going to announce all the guests very soon. That's all I have for you today. Get out of here.